the best rivalry we have in the game potentially is in Southern California.
These are two of the best, if not the two best.
The Dodgers heard about how good the Padres are going to be. These two teams don't like one another.
Bellinger twisting around, still going. He's at the wall. He leaps. Cody Bellinger, a robbery of Tatis. Tempers flaring. You figured it would continue into these higher stakes matchups.
Gone! A home run! Fernando Tatis Jr. homered off Kershaw in the third. He repeats the act in the fifth.
Like father, like son.
The Dodgers complete a 3-game rout of the Padres. They outscored them 20-4, now hit them 32-12.
There was a message delivered.
10 batters, 5 hits, 5 runs.
An absolutely remarkable series. The Padres not only faced the Dodgers, but they dispatched the Dodgers.
This is going to be good. They may not be rivals in terms of franchise sense over the course of time, but they are definitely rivals right now as our rivalry week continues on MLB Network. Tonight it gets kicked off in San Diego at 9:40 Eastern. Los Angeles going to San Diego, then New York at Tampa Bay, and Houston at Seattle. We welcome in now JP Morosi, who is on little sleep, a lot of coffee, and a lot of adrenaline. Nobody loves this game more than JP. Welcome, my friend. Let's talk a bit about Padres and Dodgers. If nothing else, JP, this is a really good series with two very good teams and a good early test of this year. What's your take?
It is all of those things, Alana, and I love the matchup on the mound tonight. Clayton Kershaw against his former teammate, Yu Darvish. And we talk about Kershaw, the NL Pitcher of the Month for April, an ERA under 2. I feel as though, Alana, and I was reminded of this by seeing the Andrew McCutchen quote in the last segment, it's as though we're turning back the clock a full decade to 2013. You've got Kutch leading the Pirates and Clayton Kershaw, the best pitcher in the National League so far. And I do love, and I know we'll get into a bit of the Padre lineup, but I love that the matchup tonight that we'll watch between Kershaw and Juan Soto, certainly opponents in many playoff encounters in the past, going back to when Soto was a member of the Nationals. And now you're seeing Soto getting hot and now reuniting with this really strong Padres lineup, and Tatis finding his form a little bit too. So I really think, Alana, after the message that was sent last year in that playoff series, the Padres with all of their youth against the Dodgers. Now we have the Dodgers coming in where James Outman has been one of their best offensive players so far this season. I love a mix of the old and the new in one of the best rivalries in the game.
Yeah, James Outman's coming up a little bit later on the show, JP, but you mentioned Juan Soto. It's easy to pick any of these guys in the Padres lineup because they have a very deep lineup. But Juan Soto, you mentioned, is heating up. He's obviously doing it for average, but he also leads the league in walks. I believe that this is the Juan Soto that the Padres wanted. Am I correct in saying that?
Certainly, Alana. And I do think that it's going to be interesting to see at the end of the year where he ranks. Yes, in the on-base percentage and the walks, it's a huge part of his game. But let's not forget that he's also there to drive in runs. And I think over the last week, we've seen him be a bit more aggressive at the plate. When you're a hitter who is as talented as Juan Soto, sometimes a walk, even if it gets you to first base, isn't always your best play. It involves the ability to really get the extra base damage in there, and we're seeing that start to come into play again. You see those 8 RBI. That, to me, is a huge number for him. When he's producing runs, when you've got Tatis on base ahead of him, or Machado, depending on how Bob Melvin wants to arrange the lineup, when he is driving in runs, this Padres team is indeed one of the best in the major leagues. And I really believe, Alana, that if you see him in more of a run-producing mindset, in addition to him getting on base a lot, that is when the San Diego lineup is at their best.
Yeah, they're dangerous. He has a 5-game hitting streak. Okay, so we get the whole LA-San Diego rivalry, especially where they're at in the standings and where they're at with their teams. But perhaps, JP, a rivalry that we don't talk enough about are the Guardians and the Twins. Is there one there?
There is, and certainly I appreciate some love for the AL Central, a division near and dear to my heart, Alana, that's been a little bit overlooked at the beginning of this season. But I do think Cleveland, you talk about that matchup against Minnesota and all those comeback wins by the Guardians a year ago that really changed the entire makeup of this division race. 7 different come-from-behind wins for the Guardians against the Twins that effectively decided the AL Central in 2022. And now you look at the fast start the Twins have enjoyed in their sterling pitching on the mound, whether it's Sonny Gray, Pablo Lopez, the way they've had that reimagined Minnesota rotation. That explains to me their 3.5 game lead over the Guardians, and even the Tigers starting to lurk there, not too far off the pace of following their sweep of the Mets. But I look at this matchup this weekend as a prime opportunity for the Guardians to find a way to strike back against the Twins. We know the Twins, what a huge move it was for them to retain Carlos Correa in free agency. The Guardians, a bit of a surprising move, sending out Zach Plesac. Their rotation, though, in Cleveland, they always seem to find ways to bring in new pitchers from the minor leagues to stabilize that rotation. Terry Francona, one of the greats of the game, still a very young and effective lineup. I think this is a weekend, Alana, in which Cleveland makes a huge statement about their intention to remain atop the American League Central.
Yeah, it'll be a good one. The first matchup of the season for these two AL Central foes. Okay, I want to know your takeaway, JP, from the Red Sox and Blue Jays series. I saw your tweet the other day that said it had been 20 years ago when you were taking the tee into the game at Fenway, and you're so appreciative of being able to cover it. Great location, of course, historic stadium. But the Blue Jays did not look good in this series. What do you take away from it?
Alana, it's a great point about the way the Red Sox have really gotten back into this American League East race, now passing by the Toronto Blue Jays into third place in the AL East, and they've done it with their offense. Jarren Duran batting over 400. He has changed his approach a bit at the plate. His hands are a little higher. His talent is now going to the forefront. And how about Masataka Yoshida? What he has done there, the bat-to-ball skills for him, Alana, are simply off the charts. Damage, he's doing a great job of getting on base. He has been the catalyst. We talk about why this Red Sox lineup has so much more energy than they did a year ago. Well, Yoshida is there. He wasn't part of the team a year ago. Jarren Duran was up and down. Tristan Casas had a huge game earlier on in the series as well. I just think that they have been very opportunistic. Alex Cora, when he was speaking with our broadcast crew for our showcase game on Wednesday, talked about how he's been really impressed at the better swing decisions from his lineup this year, taking more thorough at-bats and finding ways to do damage deep in counts. And you know, Alana, someone that you and I have watched a lot over the course of his career, Justin Turner. You're seeing that Turner mentality grinding out at-bats. Yes, the performance of Turner has been important for the Red Sox, but Alana, the way that he has changed the way in which those Red Sox hitters take their at-bats, that has had a huge and enduring impact on this team.
No question about it. He's the X factor on every team that he's on. Kike Hernandez credits him as the second most influential person in his career, just below Chase Utley. Okay, I have to ask you this, though. I've never worried about the Red Sox lineup, JP. Their starting pitching concerns me a little bit. Chris Sale has a 6.75 earned run average. Corey Kluber doesn't look that great. Garrett Whitlock has a high ERA. I understand he's on the IL right now. Are the Red Sox good enough to catch the Rays?
Not with the current rotation. I really believe that, Alana. So I think I share your concern there. And now that we're in the month of May, it may be a little bit early to talk about trades, but I would say this is the part of their club that they're going to be most aggressive, I would say, in looking for some solutions outside the organization. I'll mention, I know it's a little early for trades, but let's think about this. Lucas Giolito, depending on how things go with the White Sox, he could be a name to watch. And let's not forget the former Red Sox, Eduardo Rodriguez. He does have an opt-out in his contract with the Tigers this year. He has been one of the best starting pitchers in the American League so far this season. So again, you mentioned some of those names. Sale, Kluber. They have to show some growth and some improvement. Brian Bayo, of course, huge expectations and hopes for him in the future. But as you point out, the task right now before the Red Sox, find a way to pass the Orioles and the Rays. And when you talk about how well Eflin pitched yesterday, just how dynamic that Rays rotation is, it's going to take a better rotation showing than what the Red Sox have had to this point if they want to find a way to pass Tampa Bay.
Yeah, the Rays are ridiculous. They don't even have Tyler Glasnow. Jeffrey Springs is on the IL now, and they're still 26-6, 20 games over 500 already as we sit here on Cinco de Mayo, JP Morosi. We always appreciate your insight, my friend. Thanks so much.
Thanks, Alana. All the best.